So if we know the truth, if we are awake, if we keep ourselves from being lulled back to sleep as temporarily comfortable and subdued enablers in the addiction system, if we stay awake, then we will act. So the next question is when? The pessimists tell us that when was somewhere between 30 years ago and 1491. But on the brink of the last global threat of victory for death and death style, Albert Einstein told us he'd rather be an optimist and wrong than a pessimist and right. So when pushed to answer the question when do we act? Let's answer right now, right this very moment. Right this moment, we can rewrite our collective story because the corporations are organized. They are determined to write our story for us. Suffering with seemingly inconquerable affluence and greed, those doing the bidding of the corporate masters seek more and more at any cost to get the next manic fix. Those at the wheel of corporate-driven society will send us over the edge. And at this point, no matter what we do, they may succeed. But our species has seen and outrun the likelihood of our demise before. In fact, it's what we do best. In fact, it's threaded into the entirety of our evolutionary heritage. It's who we are. It's what we do. We are a statistical improbability. And we always have been. The threats have always been extraordinary. It's just the predators are different. But they're as vulnerable as ever to our greatest survival skills. Now is the moment of our fighting chance. When asked when, the answer is now. The answer is now or never. Now's the moment to heed the haunted warnings of our elders and our great-great-grandchildren and come out of energy saver mode for what really matters most and help write the alternative ending to our story. Around the world and in Washington, D.C., organized crime thinks they've published the final print on the story of DNA and the corporation's right to own life itself at the state capitol. The corporation stands in place of we, the people, and a license to kill is permitted at will to the highest corporate bidders. And in Boulder County, like in counties from coast to coast, no one really stands in the way. As industry bullies intimidate already squeamish commissioners into writing the final chapters of our food, air, and water. As far as the corporate class is concerned, our story already has been written. You go to the table of contents, and every heading has been written by their agents, not ours. Go to the index, the bookmarks, the footnotes. It says democracy on the cover, but it's just a cover. They think if they write the story, we'll be content to lie down with it and read it to our children. Our other option is to co-author our story together with the millions of people marching today across the globe to rein in this psychopathic corporate person and the addicts to its money and power and politics. So let's close with a few whispers from our ancestors and the ghosts that come before us, because if we're going to co-create our path forward and change our stories, we'll have to be as disciplined and inspired and well organized as the corporations who think they've sealed our fate. Because they have our elected officials bound up in the strings of fear. Like each of us, none of them could overcome it alone. Under all the answers, the addicts, the greed, everywhere. Now, why? If the answer under all of it is fear, then at the very root of fear, as always, as Dr. King repeated, starless night at the root of that fear, then the antidote at the root of that controlling fear can only be love. So let not your love be the only love. Let not our love for our children stand alone. Let not our love for our neighbors and one another be the sole love. Let not our love for our earth, as she sustains us, be sequestered in political bribes and chemical and genetic slurries. None of us can stand up alone in the midst of fear as its story is being read to us over and over again, so that we believe not in ourselves, but in somehow inescapable screenplay being written for us and our world. Now is not the time, as we sleep in our burning beds, to be paralyzed in the droning corporate lullaby to preclude an unending nightmare ahead. Now is the time to recommit ourselves once again as the strongest, not the weakest link in the global chain, right here in Boulder. Forging forward for our kind and our way and our fighting chance to write our story together. For lifestyle in place of death style, we'll have to do it not alone. And the final question after who and what and where and when and why is how. And the answer is anywhere you have the opportunity, take your stand. As Dorothy Day from the Catholic Worker reminded us so succinctly, this requires a revolution, and the greatest revolution of the day is a revolution of the heart, a revolution that begins within each one of us. So I, for one, am taking my stand, not on the side of greed, nor the side of fear or the masters that they serve, but on the side of justice and nonviolent, compassionate, and if need be, extraordinarily rebellious and disobedient love. Despite the dark, I am taking my stand not on the side of fear or greed or the masters they serve. I, for one, am taking my stand here. The question is, am I taking my stand alone? No! Will we do it together? Yes! Are you willing to take your stand? Yes! I hear the ghosts of the ancestors whispering back. I hear the reminders of our unlikely existence. I hear them speaking the name of love. I hear Dr. King's gentle warning not to add darkness to the already starless night. That the darkness cannot drive out darkness, only light can do that. I hear the whispers. I hear the whispers. I hear the whisper of Zapata before Che. I'd rather die on my feet than live on my knees. I hear Che's incantation that the true revolutionary acts on feelings of great love. I hear the ghosts of Monsanto's dead millions from famine, from poison, from war in the path of their death march, and I think today of our march. I think of our march for justice, and I can compare the corrupted seats of justice on the bench of our own Supreme Court. And as we prepare our march forward, I think on Monsanto's corporate lawyers attempting their march forward for their interests and their agents and their agenda, and I hear the clarion call in that courtroom. That clarion call when they walk in and they hear the words, "All rise, all rise." How perfect for us to think of justice and think to ourselves on the words, "All rise." All rise. chance to survive against the odds, as we always have. All rise in the greatest tradition of the very definition and meaning of the human spirit. We, not they, nobody else, only us, controls the patent on the human spirit. So all rise now. All rise now or never. 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 Then, when we're told it's over, when we're told the end is near, when we're told it's the end of the story, we'll take our stand, not alone but together, and we'll co-create our world, and in our story, we'll let it be written that our love would not be bound, and that it is not the end, but it is the beginning that is near.